Hi Aries, this is your forecast for the month of August 2018. This is a general reading for Aries Sun, Aries Rising, or Aries Moon. For a more rounded overview, please watch your rising and moon sign as well. So Aries, this first week you are in defense mode and you seem to be struggling just a bit. You probably have experienced some kind of setback or complication, something that is wearing on you physically. You may be struggling. It could even be some ill health. But you are trying to protect yourself, whether that is your physical health, your emotional state, your assets, your rights, your reputation. You are trying to stand up for yourself and you're having to draw on your reserves of energy. But you are very determined to do something. And it could be in the face of a challenge, an obstacle, an adversary. You want to push through though. And you're very guarded. Maybe this has to do with some prior conflict that you've been involved in. Or maybe you're struggling with dealing with some kind of delay. You were anticipating something. So there are some barriers for you to deal with. And you may either feel that you're losing your power or you're being overpowered in some way. And it could be that it may be a week for you to take a look at what your plans are. Are they realistic? And maybe, your thinking is an impediment in some way. But this is ultimately a card of victory. But you're having to put in hard work and effort. And in the process of trying to cross that finish line, you probably are going to be knocked down a few times. So something unexpected is going to come up that, again, wears on you, taxes your physical strength. And, you're dealing with perhaps a close call with something or some kind of issue that has created a problem. And you're having to do a reassessment. You're having to stop and take stock of a situation. And perhaps look at your values. Maybe you need to make some changes, changing your habits, whether that's the way you spend money, the way you work, the way you take care of your health, the way you deal with other people. Because a change in your perspective has the power to change your situation. Now, fortunately, this is a card also of wisdom. Wisdom through the school of hard knocks, unfortunately, but wisdom nevertheless. So you may be understanding more about your circumstances. You are gaining greater awareness both of yourself, of people, of situations, the mechanics behind things. And you're understanding the positive aspect, why things occur and what you can get out of it, even if it is a negative experience. So your new outlook about something and being very practical, very realistic can help you move forward. This is not a week for you to get caught up in your emotions. You need to see clearly so that you can move forward. And you may be struggling with the shadow part of yourself or a situation. You may be taking, again, some unnecessary risks, or there's something that you're unaware of that you're now having to face or deal with, or simply your thinking, your fears, your illusions about something. And it's important that you get a handle on that and acknowledge those fears so that your emotions begin to work with you rather than against you. So this is a week for you to take things slowly, go over the finer points, one step at a time. Don't try to get too far ahead of yourself or look too far into the future, because that's when you feel overwhelmed. For some of you, you are struggling because you just won't change. You continue to do the same things that keep you struggling. Maybe you're in constant defense mode, or you're so conscious of protecting what is you feel to be rightfully yours that you're no longer objective anymore. So you could be falling back into some old habits, some old ways of thinking, and consequently facing some familiar situations that get in the way of your advancement. This is especially true if you can't move past any negative situations, some loss that you've suffered, or some confusion about something. So this is a time for you to sort out your feelings and the facts and get clear on both. And until you can do that, you need to really rethink a situation before you make any important decisions. Now, the second week, you have this, very negative card. Perhaps, you may have even lost something, or you were protecting yourself, trying to win at all costs, and maybe you did win, but it felt rather empty for you. Because this is a card where, somebody has to win at a price and the other person has to lose. Now, for some of you, maybe you're trying to protect yourself because you're dealing with some negative individuals, some troublemakers, people who are malicious, people who are gossips or bullies. And so it could be a week where you have to act in your own self-interest. There is some kind of discord taking place, some disagreement. It could be, again, somebody is working behind your back. There's a smear campaign taking place. Somebody's trying to pull you down. They've got some malice towards you, some spite. So this could be a week where somebody may be trying to sabotage your plans. And perhaps last week there were some delays specifically because of that. Somebody's plotting something. There's some kind of sneak attack in the works. And it could even be that you need to protect yourself because there are issues of theft. So there's some kind of limitation that you're facing. You may be going in circles about a situation and feeling as if you're getting nowhere. Maybe you're at odds with others. There's some kind of hostility, or you're dealing with somebody who is manipulative or out for revenge. So there's something going on. Now, for some of you, maybe you're suffering from some kind of loss, and maybe this is a week where you're having to deal with a funeral. There's something, it could be somebody has passed away, or you're mourning something, whether that's an actual person, a circumstance, losing something. You could also, be overstepping boundaries in some way, or somebody is doing that to you, and maybe that's why you feel you have to be protective. You are frustrated with something that has been going in a circle. Maybe you feel like you're beating your head against a brick wall trying to make something happen, or dealing with some kind of emotion. The fortunate thing, if there is one in this week, is that whatever the circumstance, it's going to trigger something in you that's going to make you want to take some kind of action. There's something that you should have done a long time ago. And finally, you have been pushed to the brink and you've decided to do something. You have to be careful, though, that, again, you're sorting out your emotions from the facts. If you behave impatiently, or you're very overconfident or arrogant about your stance, it may cause you to step out in ways that hurt you somehow. You may take a foolish risk. But again, this is a week where if you have felt reluctant or apprehensive, or you've had some self-doubt, you don't care anymore. You want it all out there. You want it on the table. You want to know about something that you have been wondering about. It's been gnawing at you, nagging at you. And you're just looking for that response. You'd like a good one, of course, but in spite of whatever answer you get, this is going to allow you to move forward, especially if there's been some kind of stumbling block. For some of you, you may feel that a sense of remorse. If you're the person being antagonistic or only looking out for yourself, you may feel some kind of regret. So, you may be exclusively focused on winning. And it could be that this is a week where if there was a sneak attack, maybe the treachery is going to be revealed. There's been something illegal or dishonest taking place. Now, for some of you, you find yourself in a position because maybe you got caught up in circumstances and you let some things fall through the cracks, or you didn't give another person their proper respect or due, or you didn't lend credence to a situation. You didn't grasp the brevity of it, the importance of it. And so you took a circumstance or a person or yourself or perhaps your health for granted. And if that's the case, this could be a week where you are having to face the music. You are getting a reality check, and whatever comes at you may be embarrassing or humiliating, or maybe you get an ego check somehow. This is not the week to be risky, whether that's with your health or your finances. Maybe you're struggling with your health. You're doing some things. Maybe you're on some kind of medication and there's some kind of side effect to it. Or maybe, you're doing some kind of healing practice that maybe is not serving you. So this could be a week where you're struggling. Maybe there's something you're dealing with and you don't know the real root cause of it. And just getting to that answer is difficult and challenging. This is a week to be careful, careful, careful. I want to underscore that because whenever this card shows up, you may think you're being thorough. You may think you have your I's dotted and your T's crossed, but inevitably something goes awry. Something, again, falls through the cracks, and possibly because you're very distracted, especially if you're low on energy or you're dealing with something emotional. You might do something and you could create a misunderstanding or some kind of accident. Again, maybe you lose something, misplace it, make the wrong decision, hurt yourself in some way. So this is about, being clear of what the boundaries are and determining whether whatever conflict you may be in, is it worth it or not? And it may be necessary to defend yourself, but you have to be careful of antagonizing other people in that process. Now, the third week, you are weighing your options about something, and it could be you're experiencing some kind of emotional up and down about something. Maybe you have a lot of obligations and you're going in circles with that. You've been struggling. You don't know how much more you can take on. And it could be because you have overstretched, you've overextended yourself in some way, and that could be financially or emotionally or physically. So you may be dealing with the ups and downs of your finances. Maybe you're having to juggle your budget, take from one place to pay for the other. Maybe you're going in circles with trying to, push your business out there. Maybe you're involved in commerce where you're trying to push a product, or the money is always on this endless loop of it comes in and then there's something for you to pay out. So this is a week where you're going to have to be flexible. You're going to have to be resourceful. You have multiple obligations and responsibilities. You're going to have to get in gear, prioritize, and use your resources wisely. You're going to have to manipulate your circumstances so that you come out on top. So for some of you, this is a week where you need to make some kind of decision. There's a change taking place. There's some movement. For some of you, that may be physical movement. Maybe you are traveling, or there's a change of your job or a change of environment. Or perhaps, you keep trying to make that happen and there's a difficulty with it. For some of you, this may have to do with some kind of gift that you will be receiving. So you may be dealing with negative situations on one end where somebody's immature or impulsive. Maybe somebody is inflexible and there's more need for adaptability. For some of you, it could be some delays that you're dealing with because there's some red tape to get through. And you could be going in circles with a situation because it feels very complicated. You're trying to determine the ins and outs. You're trying to navigate through these tunnels. And, you feel overwhelmed by the complexity of your situation, whether it's business or health or finances. There's some kind of instability in certain cases where maybe you're just disorganized, or there's been some wastefulness, or the inability to make a decision, or somebody has been, again, mishandling the finances or not putting enough effort in. So you may feel, like things are getting the better of you. You can't hold it together. And maybe you've actually taken off, more than you can chew. For some of you, this is a back and forth between you and another person. Maybe your partner is keeping too much of the joint resources that you are meant to share. And that could very well be an issue with that Six of Pentacles. So this is a week where, again, multitasking is going to be very important. And so you could very well have something unusual come down the pike this week, something romantic or financial or legal that opens up some kind of opportunity for you. It could be a stroke of unexpected luck that just comes up out of the blue when and where you least expect it. And if you are able to maintain your emotional equilibrium, you will be able to juggle whatever is on your agenda. This is a good time for you to look over your schedule, your finances, your strategy, to restructure some things economically, and to deal with the future and the long-range benefits. Now remember, at the beginning of the month, it was one step at a time. But by this juncture, it's time for you to start thinking about the long term. So you are weighing your options. Now perhaps, it's about a business taking off, or you literally taking off to go somewhere. For some of you, maybe you're even thinking of taking a trip to Europe. You may be starting a journey of some sort, physically or mentally or spiritually, but you want to open up new horizons. And perhaps you're trying to weigh maybe there are two opportunities presenting, and you're having to determine what will allow you, the best opportunity, or maybe you want greater freedom. In some cases, though, you have a gift for running away. You're not dealing with issues, and you may be even using illness or some challenge as a means of avoiding a situation. Maybe somebody is looking for you and like, oh, I'm sick. Oh, I can't come in. Or, I couldn't do that because, I'm suffering from whatever. Maybe it's real, maybe it's not. But either way, it's a convenient mechanism for you to avoid a situation or person you don't want to deal with. Or maybe you're dealing with somebody like that. Again, this is about you being mindful of your finances and, having to juggle and stretch things out and play your cards right so that you can make that bottom line end up where it needs to be by the end of the month. However, if you're not realistic, you're going to find that you are on an emotional up and down roller coaster. You're going to feel irritable or depressed because, again, things are in flux. There's some changes taking place, and maybe there's been some impulsiveness, or again, you're dealing with somebody who is inflexible, or you're at this impasse. You have reached the max. Maybe you've charged your credit cards to the limit, or you're fresh out. So this is about being adaptable to where you are right now, so that you can adjust to these ups and downs that might otherwise complicate your situation. Now, the last week you're ending on a high note. So you have two cards of victory here. Although you are working very hard, it could be, that you either weigh your options and come up with a decision, or maybe somebody gives you a boost. But this is about getting some recognition, reaching your goal, having a breakthrough, and feeling that sense of exaltation because of everything that you went through to get there. You taste that victory. It's the culmination of your effort, and whatever has occurred, you're motivated now to keep going. So there could be some good news this week. You're making some progress. For others of you, though, this is about lording, your success over other people. There's some negative energy, like, look, I won and you didn't. So you have to be careful of that. This is a victory that comes about not just through your own talent and merits. This is a victory that comes about through the help of others, those that are supportive of you. So it's important to remember them when you get to the top. There's something happening either at work or home that's going to open up some opportunities for you to show the world what you can do, who you are, what your talents are, what your skills are, what you possess. So your leadership, your loyalty, your friendship, your devotion, your cooperation is in view. This is the time to put that on full display in order to make it work for you. And you're going to be coming in contact with people who can help you, who can give you some advice, some suggestions, some assistance that open doorways for you and progress your interests. And so this is a week where you can accomplish any number of victories, great or small, as long as you're working in tandem with others, as long as you're in a reciprocal relationship where there is give and take. So you may ask for help, or you may extend assistance to others, because that's going to move the agenda forward. There's some revelation that you're getting, some new perspective that you receive. This could be new information or greater self-awareness where, it helps you to move forward. Now, if you are resistant, you're going in circles, you don't want to listen, you want to do it your way, then things are not going to improve the way you want them to. And whatever you're doing, obviously, is not going to be as enjoyable as it could be had you been willing to work and cooperate with others. Now, you may be dealing with somebody who is resistant to your advice or suggestions. This is also a week where you have a lot of charisma, and you have to be sure that you don't exploit that. This is about playing the card if it suits the purpose. You could be disingenuous and you're smiling, maybe you're batting your eyelashes, you're giving false flattery because it serves you in some way, or you're receiving that. So this is about, turning that charisma on like a water faucet. This could also be a week where you were expecting something, you were anticipating something, and it's delayed, or the return is not what you expected to receive. So you may begin to, if things didn't play out the way you wanted, you may have some doubt about what you're doing. You may have a lack of confidence, and you may begin to question the direction that you are traveling in. Again, this could also be a week where travel is in focus, or perhaps a vehicle. You may feel a sense of, being crushed because you didn't get what you wanted. Victory eluded you. But it could be that your success has been simply delayed and that you need to be more original. You need to think outside of the box. So most importantly, this is a week for those important connections, those influential people who can advance your interest and the unexpected opportunities that come your way, and how well you are willing to avail yourself of those opportunities. Now, the underlying energy is this Six of Pentacles. So this is really getting in gear with something, being very conscientious. You are totally trying to balance those scales and put things in order, whether financially, physically, emotionally, business-wise. Again, it could be very important, your contact with somebody who is supporting you. Perhaps this is an investor, a benefactor. It could be, again, this involvement with an exchange of goods or services. There could be a focus on you putting some money back, saving for an emergency or a rainy day. But this is also negative energy where somebody may be lording power, where somebody feels like they're an indentured servant. They're having to beg to get the scraps. You may feel like you're passed over. You're not getting your recognition. You're not getting what's due to you. And maybe somebody's giving affection to someone else or money to someone else. Maybe you're dealing with issues where somebody is a thief, or they are a tightwad, or there's something crooked going on financially. Maybe there are issues of dependency where somebody is needed for their basic needs. Maybe you're providing that, or you're having to be dependent on somebody. It could be that, this is somebody that's just looking out for themselves. Whatever it is, you are thinking about things from your money to the time you spend to the opportunity that comes up. And you're trying to be efficient. You're trying not to waste. You're looking at the bottom line. For some of you, you're involved in some kind of charitable situation. Again, it's easy for you to attract people of influence who can help you move forward. And so this is a month where you need to be cognizant, mindful of anything that crosses your path. Any opportunity, examine any and all of those to see if it holds merit for you. If you need to bargain, if you need to negotiate, if you need to barter, whatever you need to do with that eye on the bottom line. Otherwise, you could end up paying a higher price. Whatever way that means, a higher interest rate, more than you could have gotten a better deal and you didn't take the time to do that. Or perhaps you paid an emotional price that was unnecessary, or maybe you invested more time into something. Had you gotten some advice, you could have gotten a shortcut. So this is about examining any way possible to become more efficient and more productive. And you are very motivated. There's a new sense of purpose about how you structure your life and your daily routine. For some of you, a legal issue may be resolved in your favor. And some of you, the hard work is finally going to pay off. You're going to get a bonus, or you're going to get some recognition. Maybe you're going to land the sales account. And maybe your health will even improve. You are being more conscientious and you're willing to make some changes. There's a focus on that balance, having or not having, whether that is money, knowledge, power. So there are issues of generosity at play during this month. Benevolence, exchanges with others. Some of you may be involved, in a situation where you don't have enough resources and you're having to deal with perhaps a social system or some form of charity, or maybe you're seeking a grant. This is all about getting what you deserve. Whether you are repaying some debt or, having a sense of gratitude, or you are helping others. It's about some form of gain, materially or emotionally, and you want that to be fair. Maybe for some of you, this is about sharing your information, your skills, your knowledge. You're mentoring somebody, or you have the opportunity to be mentored. So this could be a business opportunity or a promotion for you. But you are seeking a renewal of sorts. You want a new beginning. You want to get away from that Five of Swords. You want to revitalize. If you've been struggling with your health, you want to heal. And, if you had a negative attitude, it may be important to change your mindset and become more positive. If you can't do that, you may find that your health suffers. You may have difficulty sleeping. You could be experiencing some nervous tension, specifically related to your problems and your stress level. This is going to be a month where, things come home to roost. You may have to deal with the consequences of your own or somebody else's financial neglect. So for some of you, you're working on something and it is taxing your strength. You're tired of it. You feel like, you want to do something different, and yet you don't know which direction to go. You don't know, it may be difficult for you to find another job or another opportunity. And it could be that, again, you've been unrealistic. Some kind of faulty judgment has created some additional complications for you. And it could be that Nine of Wands, that very determined approach that you have, is creating some friction in your relationships. Now, this may be because somebody deceived you. Maybe there's a withdrawal of financial support. Maybe you lost something, some property or some income, or now you have to pay a loan or a bill. Something has come due. Or maybe, again, somebody's not sharing. You're not getting what you deserve. Maybe there's some unfair business dealings, or you're having to deal with some unpaid bills, or some waste or theft. So there's something that is, maybe for some of you, there's, again, somebody working behind your back. There's some jealousy or some envy, or you're getting money, but there's some kind of string attached to it. You are roped and tied to this person. For some of you, there's a lack of gratitude. You're maybe willing to bite the hand that feeds you, or you're dealing with somebody like that. So you may feel like you've been shortchanged, or perhaps you had, put some effort into a get-rich-quick scheme and it didn't pay off. So there's a need to overcome something, to be more conscientious, to try to right those scales. Now, the good news in this reading is that there are no majors, which means that in spite of whatever challenge or discomfort you may be experiencing, you have more power than you may realize. But there is a lack of sensitivity. Something about your circumstance is very cold. There's going to be some changes taking place, and they tie to your ambitions. And they also connect to the ability to repair or improve or to clarify a situation so that you can operate on a better level in your daily routine and in your domestic affairs. You are doing a review of some sort. Could be your finances, an opportunity, forming an alliance, traveling. And you're going to have to, again, base your decisions on your instincts, your intuition, the facts, rather than your emotions and rushing headlong into something impulsively. However, you have to overcome any doubts as well, because others are willing to manipulate you to take what's yours. You're also, again, this weighing your options is very important. You're trying to find out what's best for you. And it has to do with benefits that come through others or some kind of favor being granted. Now, this is going to be a month where some smaller episodes of activity are going to trigger some much needed overdue change. And unfortunately, it's going to take longer for your concerns to be resolved to your satisfaction. Now, you may be dealing with some resistance to something you want to get going, but you may need to team up with somebody. Somebody may, couple up with you and make it happen anyway in spite of the resistance. In this circumstance, somebody is being bullied or pressured into making some decisions that they don't want to make. And without that water in this reading, the feelings of other people are not being considered. So you may be under a great deal of pressure, but you're trying to maintain your position and hold on to your beliefs in spite of the emotional price tag that you're paying. The cost is very high for you taking a particular stance. And for some of you, this is you refusing to leave perhaps an abusive situation or partner. Some of you, you're passing a test in some way, whatever that test is, only to find out that it really had no merit. It's worthless in the end. It was that empty victory. All right, Aries, I hope you enjoyed this reading. Don't forget to subscribe, and you can also join me on Patreon to receive extras, or at Instagram or my blog for a daily post. And of course, you can always book a personal reading at thealchemistastrologer.com.